Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching Nile Cruise on Nile TV International. And from the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization here in Cairo, the NAMEC, dear viewers, we bring you this interview, and we have a very special interview with Mrs. Sherine Raouf Metwally, which is a conservator specialist at the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, the NAMEC. A very good day, and it's a pleasure to have you with us in today's episode of Nile Cruise. Ms. Sherine, at the beginning of our interview, we're honored to have you and to host you today, and I'd love to ask you, would you tell us more about the role of conservators in the museum, please?
The rule of conservator, first we must to treat and conserve the object or the artifact. So
in other means, restore.
Yes, but the conservator is the more correct.
Ms. Sherine, could you please tell us more about the role of the conservators in the museum, please?
First, the most important step is the documentation of the object in the museum, and this is the main step for the treatment and the conservation of the object. Also, another rule is about the preservation of the object in suitable condition and prepare it for anything as an exhibition, storage, and this is the rule of conservator.
Conservator, restorer, and you mentioned a preserver. What is the difference between the three?
The restorer, it's to complete something is missing in the object. But recently we didn't prefer this method. We like to conserve the object to preserve the identity of the artifact.
Okay, did you roll before the restoration and the renovation of the NAMEC? Was it different than today after the inauguration of the museum?
No, it's the same technique, but the only difference is before the opening of the museum is it's more working pressure and more timeline. But after the opening, recently they came to the conservator lab, visitors coming to conservator labs, so you must be ready in any time.
The museum contains artifacts from different eras, which put a big responsibility on the conservation center of the museum. What are the tasks assigned to conservation department in the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in general, and the metal repair and restoration lab in particular?
As I said before, it's the techniques of the conservation is the same techniques in every material, but in metal, the metals need more care and more to preserve it from any relative humidity, and need chemical treatment, more need coating to preserve it from any bad microclimate around it. But the role of conservator must to be in a constant contact with the new methods that's applied in international museum.
Perfect. Does metal restoration or conservation differ according to the nature of the metal, and which metal do you like the most?
Unfortunately, I didn't work in the metals because I am a specialist in the organic materials, such as textile, manuscripts, basketry. But as I said before, about the background of the metals, it's need more care about the controlling the microclimate around the metal.
Okay, when it comes to conservation, what are the pieces you recently accomplished to conservate?
Or treated, no?
Conservate.
Recently, we prepare for a temporary exhibition in next month related to Islamic art. It's a collection of textile. Recently we prepared to this temporary exhibition.
What are the most recent techniques used in the conservation and restoration process in the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, or the NAME?
Do you mean what is the techniques?
The new techniques, the most recent, the newest techniques that you use.
According to the international techniques. And as I said before, we must keep in contact with other museums, what they applied, what
other international museums, and are there international laws that are applicable on the NAMIC here,
yes,
that we should go online with them?
Yes, and recently we didn't. What I want to say about we prefer the preventive conservation more than the interventive conservation. We don't like to enter to the object, but we want to preserve it only. We don't like to, if any part is missing, we don't like to complete it. We like to keep it because its identity and authenticity, we must keep it.
What is the difference between civilization museums and archaeological museums?
NEMEC includes different fields beside the museum exhibition and education, museum education. We have many conferences such as theatre, events, and ceremonies.
You also have educational learning centers here at the museum, and you have for families and children as well.
Yes, exactly. Here the team staff do all of their best to get an amazing museum education. Also, you can see here there is stores, markets. Our aim to increase the activity of the tourism.
Of course, under the directives of Dr. Ahmed Ghonim, who is making an amazing job, and it's worth to mention. What is the significance of presenting and displaying the civilization to both the Egyptian citizen and the foreign citizen as well? Visitor.
As we know, we have a valuable object and in our country, and you can't find these valuable object in any country. Rather, they exhibit our civilization in their museum in other countries. So, our museum must to exhibit and deliver the message or the authenticity of our civilization, and this is the main rule of the museum.
What do the pieces to be displayed in the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization reveal?
It's revealed the diversity of the materials, reveals the diversity of eras, starting from the prehistory to the modern times.
The International Training Center is the first of its kind in Egypt, undergoing training specialists in the fields, of course, of archaeological restoration or conservation. Would you tell us the importance of this center, please?
It's a good question from you because this field is the most important field after the museum exhibition. Here we have many training courses, summer and winter schools, in a cooperation with other institutions, international and national institutions. In every year, these courses must be applied in NEMEC.
I thank you so much for joining us in this interview. Thank you very much, and always a pleasure to be with us.
So much. Thank you.
Dear viewers, this is this segment of Nile Cruise. Stay tuned for another segment coming up next from the NAMIC.